What up, y'all? This is ODDio3. We are on episode 4, and we are back in full effect with a conversation right now with these two lovely young gentlemen from Tamago. We got Jeff Gold and Clarian North. What's up, guys? How you doing?
Hey, how's everyone doing? Thanks for having me.
Good. How are you? What's up?
Yeah, I am definitely chilling, and I'm excited to get into all the juicy details, not literally, because Tamago, sometimes the juice can be messy and sticky, but I'm doing the Japanese reference here anyway.
The rice.
Yeah. So yeah, tell us a bit about Tamago and how, what was the story? How did this all happen? How did it come together? How did you guys create what you've created so far?
You tell it better.
Who, me or you?
You.
It's funny. It's like Jeff and I were both trying to be very polite here. So we're like, when you say you tell the story, like we don't know who the you is. But okay, I'll start. I could start. I mean, look. So I guess Jeff and I are. I guess we've known each other for a while, right, Jeff? I mean, how many years have we known each other for?
13-ish.
13. That's an unlucky number.
14, something like that.
14, yeah, 12 or 14. Right? Yeah, so we've known each other for a while, and we met in Mexico years ago, and with a group of friends. And Tamago was kind of born the same way. It was born through a group of friends that were into music, the underground electronic culture in general, specifically, and into interesting technologies. Because electronic music does, there's a lot of interesting technologies involved in that as well. What drew me into electronic music was the idea that you could use these kind of like synthesizers or modular kind of interesting pieces of equipment that can then generate, very, very landscape-ish sounds or atmospheres that can embody kind of futurism, like weird kind of future stuff. And it could be made with very cold machines, like the machines are making it, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to be, it couldn't be like nostalgic or warm sounding. And you have that beautiful juxtaposition of then playing with technology and old machines and getting the machines to do things and build things. And anyway, that's for me something that I really love about electronic music and kind of got me into it. So Jeff and I and a few other friends, I think we threw a party. We told this story a lot already. So it's kind of like, I feel like not saying it is already being said because we said it so many times, but we should say it just in case people are listening to this and they don't really know. So yeah, we threw a rave in Mahawal, right? Am I saying it right? I always butcher.
Mahawal.
Yeah, Mahawal, right.
Near the border of Belize, south kind of part of Mexico.
Yeah, and it was really cool. It was fun. I don't know, there's maybe 100 people, a really cool small town. It was around that, right? Maybe around 100 people at the party or something like that, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was a little intimate gathering.
Very cool, very fun. Very nice, refreshing breather from BPM Festival, which is where Jeff was working at the time. And I was there for that. And I was doing some work in Central and South America as well. And then flash forward, so that we became friends kind of through that exchange, and then flash forward, I guess, a year and a half ago or something like that, or 2 years ago, or I don't even know. I mean, it's so hard. COVID has kind of cast a spell upon time, and its time is now it's not linear anymore. I feel like it's pockets. You know, it's turned into all these pockets like the last 3-4 years. I don't know what's been going on. And it's like, it's a big mess. But somewhere in the past, I would say, I think like maybe 2 years.
2 years,
ago, right?
year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, about 2 years ago, I was doing a bunch of stuff with Web3 and there's some commentary. I put out an album as an NFT, basically sort of sardonically, sort of in earnest jest, like a kind of combination, which is how I've defined, I think, a lot of the music stuff or like the art that I've kind of worked on over the years. I always kind of like have an element of absurdity in it. Makes it more kind of fun and interesting for myself. But yeah, you know, the idea was to put the album out. This was before Kings of Leon, which, you know, so I love saying this because anyway, I got a bunch of, I stirred the pot a lot with that and I got some press for this album that I dropped. There's 3 things. I know I'm off. I know this is not the question that you want to know about how Tamago was formed, but it really does kind of tie into it. But you know, Tamago was formed by a group of friends. We were all like on the board. We're all co-founders, and the idea was that the idea of Tamago is just it's up. You go to tamastream.io, and it's a music app that's decentralized, where you get full transparency. If you're an artist, you're going to make you know, you can sell your music right away. That data is not private, that there's no advertisements, there's no monetization of your private data, that if we go down, your data remains public. That's the way that we envision a better future for artists, a better future for content creators. And why not do it right away? That was the idea, because the technology already exists. So we, you know, working with the Near protocol, which is incredible technology, an incredible layer 1, incredible project. It's, you know, it's not too many steps to take that wallet and integrate it and then you know, run that up. And then we run it up on IPFS, which is also beautiful. And you know, these things exist and it's not so hard to set it up if you have a good team and you're on top of it. But going back to the whole NFT thing, just like to end that phrase of what I was saying, like the 3 things like about with NFTs that I think are interesting to think about right now in 2023. The first thing is like, you know, it's still super, super early. Like people think like, oh, we had this big NFT bubble a year ago, so we're past it and da-da-da. No friggin' way, not even close. Like look at like Polygon teaming up with like Final Fantasy guys and stuff like that. Like things are going in a direction, and especially in gaming, you know, like gamers are extremely like, you know, especially like millennials such as myself and then the Gen Zs, we're very like, if you're a gamer, you're not gonna like, you're gonna be like, whatever, bro, you play your game. And if you're gonna be like, come up to me and be like, yo, I got this NFT play, gonna add to the game and da-da-da, you're like, whatever, bro, like I'm playing my game, leave me alone, I'm doing my thing, right? Like the attitude isn't generally for gamers to be like, embrace every new technology, like the SF Valley attitude, because the SF Valley attitude, there is a positivism. Like if you want to keep your job, you better be young at heart and young at mind. You better embrace the technologies. If you start becoming too curmudgeon-y, then your bosses are going to be like, oh, well, you don't want to migrate to this cool, trendy like library. You know what I mean? But if you're a gamer, you're like, it's basically your mom getting mad at you or something like that to like, you're late for dinner or something, you know what I mean? Or like you're not the positivism, political friendliness of the SF Valley mentality is moot, right? Like you just want to see, is the product good? Is it worked? Is it tried and tested? And there, in my opinion, there's more honesty and earnestness than in the gaming world when it comes to testing technologies in many ways than you're going to find in the SF Valley. So it's like the pros and cons. So the pros of it is good. The con of that, though, is that piercing the veil is because a big part when it comes to technology of whether or not people embrace technology is how tried and tested and true it is. And you can't replace that with anything except for time and experience. And then you're always going to have people who are going to miss the boat because they're too scared to kind of take that step forward because they don't want to feel embarrassed by the fact until they get to a threshold where they're like, this technology is tried and tested and true. I like it, you know? So because of that, in my opinion, and these are all just my opinions, of course, clearly I have lots of opinions. These are just my opinions, but like, in my opinion, that what that all kind of boils down to is that right now we're super, super early. And I want to see like what that publishing company, the Final Fantasy publishing company, when they drop a game with Polygon, and they're sick, you know, like Final Fantasy VII for me, one of the all-time best games ever made, hands down, you know. But when I want to see games come out on a level that actually impact the gaming world beyond our niche, you know, because of course there's tons of really cool stuff and play to earn and things happening and gala, you know, like I love all that stuff, but we're talking about the world, you know, like right now Bitcoin is what, like 1 trill, like it's trying to go 1 trill up and down. It's like it's teetering up and down on 1 trill. Like wait till it's, you know, you got BlackRock behind it right now. Like wait till we're like next bull run having event, and if it goes to like 2, 3, 4, 5 trill, once that starts to happen, that's like the real, in my mind, the real type of mass adoption, and of that goes beyond another level. And I feel like we're heading there. And with gaming and NFTs is going to be a big eye opener for the art side too, because once people start realizing how sick it is to not just be able to like get items that are interoperable items in games, and then like feel like you're advancing on a level that is like through gaming, like much more direct, much more concrete to what you can do in ways that just you can't do, you know, that they're just not possible. I think then the artists will come and start to embrace it even more in a level where it's not just like the avant-garde, because you, Vandal, you're extremely avant-garde, I would say, in the art world right now, for what you're doing, in terms of like it being embraced by people. You know, most people still look at NFTs, and for good reason. You know, there's also like a lot of, I look at like Picasso in the artist world. You know, like I think about like, or like Andy, you know, like a mix between like these incredible geniuses like Picasso or Warhol. You know, like, and then you have these guys looking at NFTs in the artist world being like, well, you know, oh, this is all bullshit. Like, why don't you just paint like an epic real painting? Why was it like it's digital? Like, who cares about digital stuff? It's like, I know traditional painters that talk about Picasso like that still. You know, they're incredible painters, and they'll be like, what is this type of art? You know what I mean? And when I hear people say the same thing, I kind of feel that way. Or it's the same thing like with Warhol and his like the way that he was presenting the Campbell soups, you know, and things like that. Anyway.
Yeah.
So that's my spiel.
Awesome. And okay, so like Jeff, we've also like talked about talked about this building process and the technology, and your foot in technology is always surprising me, because earlier today telling me about this program, that, and this, you could do this and that. Like your knowledge is super hardcore when it comes to tech, and how you've implemented that with building Tamago and building all the necessary tech stuff that you guys have been working on. Can you tell us about that process and why it's also important as you as a DJ and understanding music and being connected into the music realm? How has that helped you in that process of building?
Excellent questions. Well, one of the things when I started doing coding that once I started to really get into it, I kind of realized what I loved about music through coding. And kind of what it was is like with music, it's basically essentially trying to create a perfect track, which doesn't really exist. You can have a perfect track for a moment, but like a perfect track for every moment, yeah, it doesn't fit. So you're kind of always striving to accomplish this impossible goal. And with coding, it kind of felt like that, except there was a definitive answer at the end. There is like a right or wrong. You can do it. It's just like it may be this abstract thing that has to, but it's basically kind of really similar to music in like production in a way that it's just a lot of different repeating little parts that put them together, and then you have a bigger pattern that creates music. Or in the other, like put a bunch of microservices together and then you get a function.
Cool. I want to add one thing to that.
Yeah.
I know I'm talking like the whole time, but like Jeff says much little, but then this speaks volumes. I say a lot, and then it's just like, what happened? You know what I mean? So we kind of balance each other out. But just like you said, there's no tracks that could fit every moment. But I would want to say, maybe with the exception to Avril 14th, Aphex Twin, just a quick shout out, because I think that would be a perfect track that fits all moments to me. Of course, it's very subjective, but I wanted to throw that in. And then just to also add to the Tamago tech aspect of it with the building aspect. So so the team's kind of divided up. Like but by the way, it's not just Jeff and I, like we have some fantastic engineers. They're not present, but we have, you know, like I basically focused more on the side of the front end tech development of it. So basically Tamago started off as at the very beginning, the idea was working off of IPFS, you know, if we're going to talk on the tech side. So the idea was, instead of hosting data centrally, can we host data decentrally and still have a very positive user experience for that would be on par with what the expectations are today, which is extremely, you know, fast, right? Like you want to have a response time that's going to be, you know, within milliseconds when you hit play, right? You don't want to be waiting. And the issue with IPFS, of course, is that you are you're splitting up your data, and in fact, you could be splitting it up, you know, into so many different compartments that, you know, a few years ago, it was much more difficult to retrieve that data. There wasn't a lot of libraries and whatnot built. But today, actually, I think a lot of developers don't realize that IPFS, you know, has a great community and there's a ton of resources available. You know, I mean, Jeff also, you know, you showed me about Pinata, for example, but there, you know, there's tons of ways to persist data, tons of ways to securely, you know, set up your own gateway. Of course, there is Arweave that does its own thing, but we basically wanted to build something for ourselves, from ourselves, and then really learn, because of course we could always switch over to something like Arweave, but no, we built our own custom IPFS gateway, which was also fantastic. But the first and foremost really interesting thing, I think, tech-wise, that we did was this idea is, how can we chunk data, or not even, because we weren't even thinking about chunking, but how can we retrieve the data like for a response like SoundCloud, but off of IPFS, if that data is, you know, already has to go through IPFS, even if it's not like being pinned out in so many nodes, you still have this extra lag, this extra process. And so working with Ryan, who's fantastic, he's not with us, but working with Ryan and Marco and Loic, that's our team, of our main team of people. And then we've had, of course, other very phenomenal developers and contributors from our communities come in and out over the past year and a half. But we developed a really great chunking algorithm. I mean, it was really based off a lot of what SoundCloud does, because SoundCloud does, we looked at SoundCloud too, and we realized that they were chunking. They do chunk their data, which is interesting, because then you can kind of like cut through, you know, a track. And that's sort of the idea, like, how do you cut through? And so that was our first kind of obstacle, right, I would say. And that's sort of where we got a grant from the Near ecosystem, because they kind of gave us this, they were like, well, this sounds really cool. And this was before we built anything, right? We had this idea. They're like, it sounds really cool that you can put the data up. But they were, of course, you know, healthily inquisitive, or I don't want to say pessimistic, but healthily just like, but how are you going to actually be able to, right, Jeff? I think that was the first meeting that we had with them, with their team.
They were a little apprehensive about the reality of being able to pull the data quickly.
Yeah. Quickly, and so we spoke to their engineers, and then we came up with a solution, which is great, and you can try it on Hamstring.io, and it's that chunking mechanism without, you know, like that could be its entire. We could do like, I'd be happy to go into all that stuff, and we should be posting more things up in terms of documentation.
Well, hopefully our conversation here will spark people to get more interested and to want to learn and more about what you guys are doing, both on the tech side and on the music side and the front facing side of Tamago. In terms of features, I know you introduced the NFTs previously, and then also playlisting. So you got playlisting now. What are some additional features that you're looking to bring?
Yeah, so playlists are just in their initial stage. So there's a lot of development to happen with playlisting. Right now, your playlists are being persisted, but they're not being stored. So we're going to be adding the storing. We're going to be adding the bomb feature as well. So you can just playlist by liking, Spotify style as well. And so just the intuitive kind of things that just need to be added. We've slowed down a little bit, of course, given how like the market slowed down and the Near ecosystem slowed down. But we're, as you said, we just came out with playlisting, and we like last year we flew at a crazy pace for the amount of output that we came out with. We pushed really hard. We developed a lot of things, and so we've just a lot of like maintaining code, debugging, optimizing, refactoring, and playlists are going to be more developed. And then once the playlists are really stored and you're able to store it properly, which will be the next drop, I think after that, we are looking at, I mean, like, I'm not going to say like AI, because obviously everyone's like jumping on the AI bomb pump it bandwagon. And to be fair, I think like most of the people, projects and crypto saying AI right now, I'm like, aren't doing anything. They're literally just saying AI and then nothing's really changing for the most part. There are some that are really cool. So I don't want to say that, but we have been looking, of course, I think like if you look at the OpenAI API or Stable Diffusion and you can look at libraries like Hugging and you can see what you could do with fine tuning. Jeff's really, I'm sure you've been involved in all that stuff, but like that stuff is really, really cool. We've been tinkering with that, with different ideas. That's in the back shed, and the more front shed things that we have coming up as well is the Patreon model. So the whole idea of Tamago, again, going back, it's like was never reinventing the wheel, and it's not reinventing the wheel. It's basically, it's like our way of like just building an app that puts the musicians and the artists first, so they have the least toxic environment and the best way to actually be compensated for their music, given the technologies that already exist. Because what we find is that our team finds that a lot of these technologies are fantastic, like Spotify, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, Patreon. They all have things about them that are amazing, but then they have other things which are kind of behind. And I think they're behind not because for a lack of the fact that the projects are brilliant, but maybe because these projects are so big, it's so difficult for them to adapt to the type of changes. By the time they're going to change and adapt, it's going to be years from now. So why not build something that proves to those companies and proves to the musicians why this technology matters today, and have something that we're proud of? That's really the ethos of Tamago. So those are really like, that's how we've been building it out, you know? So then the next core thing would be, we have this Patreon incorporated style influenced model that we want to bring in for the artists.
That's beautiful. I think we've covered quite a lot here in terms of your journey, what you guys are all about at Tamago, and what you're planning to do, and all the things that you've done and shared with us. All right, so Jeff, any last words before we close up the interview?
Thank you for having us. This was a pleasure, and for people to go dig through some music, share if you have.
Wait, Jeff, can you say something about, like, talk a little bit for 1 minute about some of the AI stuff we've been talking about for Tamago? Like, they're just ideas that we've been working on. That could be cool to get into. Or is that, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, some of them for updating the search. So to have it as like kind of like a record shop employee, you can just kind of be like, hey, I'm looking for some house with this kind of vibe, and it'll be like, hey, try these one. Potentially some stuff to help with artists to put together descriptions, album art. What were some of the other ones?
Well, I love that idea. That alone, I mean, there's a lot to develop in order to get to a point where we basically want to have like because you have the natural language from the OpenAI API, you have prompts, and you have like fine tuning you can do, but to have like a record store kind of like little bot friend, you know, that we could do two ways, right? We could search optimize and add it into I think we were talking about adding into the actual filter of the searching, and then also have the bot as like imagine you go to Tamago and it's like you have like a cynical. We could even train the bot. I mean, there's a certain amount of rules and ethos in terms of like what you're allowed not to do, how real it can be, but you can get pretty fun with it to a degree, where it can be like a little like a curmudgeon kind of record store owner that knows cool stuff. You can even probably change the mode of the type. So it could be somebody that could be more like 80s New York likes jazz type of record store owner, or you could have like, you know, like the weirdo 60s in the attic kind of, and they can respond in that style. And you can even plug in, like, there's great APIs, like you have the, you know, you got the Google one, or even the AWS one for the voice that have neural networks, which are like, and they can be like, you know, you can tweak the voice and be like, yeah, bro, like check out, like if you.
Microsoft has a cool new one.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Launched.
They sound great. I mean, you can like tweak, make them sound better, but they sound pretty cool. So I mean, we've been talking about that stuff I think that's pretty sweet. And also shout out to Jeff for crushing it on NearHub and for winning the meta yield competition. Pretty sick. Also crushing it on other fronts. So yeah.
Congratulations, guys. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for sharing. And for those who are watching it, make sure to go to tamastream.io and look for Tamago on Twitter and across social medias. Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks. Thanks for having us, Vandal. Thank you.
Yes, we are back and in full effect right here. This is ODDio3 episode 4, and we are now in the odd mix. What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining us. We got Gemini Rising up in the spot in RealityChain's 2Dverse. We are live in the metaverse as well as on Twitch. Thank you for coming through, checking for the live show. We appreciate you and much love. So we're going to get into the music. I discovered this track. It's by Digitals by Chaz. I found it on Twitter in my daily searches of these, and I thought I would feature it on the show today. It's quite interesting. I'm gonna let you listen to it, but it's available here. He's got 100 pieces for 0.005 ETH, so you might pay the same amount in gas when you buy it. But if you like what you're feeling, I got all the links in the show notes. So let's check it out, y'all. Newport by Digitals by Chaz. If you like it, go support it. We got a number of tunes lined up for y'all today. This one I also found. Actually, I've been scouring the Twitter webs for most of these tracks that I'm playing, showcasing different platforms. Of course, right now we're on object.com, Tezos platform. We've got this video, and I really like this because, you know, I'm based out here in Malaysia, and I've been exposed to a lot of music from around the planet in languages and different vibes and styles. So I felt like bringing this one to you. You can find the details here, written, performed by GXMZY. Be pronounced differently, but Ho Town or How Town. And this is out of India, so let's check it out, y'all. It's a music video. Here we go.
Charlie Salimar Kajipara Sipur Chora, we gonna bring new aura. Aluka Fajir Bajar Sandhya Bazaar, separate love ya we mean pyar. Mali Fatak Maidan King Road Sal kiya, sab jagah kaand kiya, naam apna fard diya. Kona Pele Pul Das Nagar, har jagah phaile hai shooter. Jangalpur Alampur Dulagar, this is how down ya mera ghar. Icha booty ka para kadam dalla, welcome to how down walla walla. Bergachi paun gachi notun pali, you gonna see dreams come reality. Art and naam se bajegi tali, this is real we and jolly yo. लोगों की अलग पहचान, लोगों की अलग एहसान, भाई के लिए देते हैं जान, तो भाई के लिए लेते भी जान. खबरा में पूछे नाम, घर तक छोड़ेंगे माम, पूछेंगे चाय और पानी भी, करेंगे खातिरदारी भी. लौंडियां जितने हैं सख्त, अंदर से उतने ही नाजुक भी. ये रखते हैं ट्रिगर पे हाथ, तो देते हैं झप्पी भी जादू की. जितने हैं जमी के ऊपर, उतने ही जमी के नीचे भी. मारेंगे पफ दो ऊपर, तो छोटे ये ग्रेविटी खींचेगी. मिलेगा धोखा नहीं मिलेगा प्यार. सिटी ऑफ जॉय लपे सुमार, पर चुभेंगे कांटे जो तोड़ोगे फ्लार. जितने हैं काम उतने अंगार, फालतू के बातें नहीं करते हैं यार. देते हैं साथ 24 आवर, नियत है साफ. हम कलाकार, ऑर्डर है गैंग, हम परिवार. Salimar Kajipara Sipur Chora, we gonna bring new aura. Salimar Kajipara Sipur Chora, we gonna bring new aura. Aluka Fajir Bajar Sandhya Bazaar, separate love ya we mean pyar. Mali Fatak Maidan King Road Sal kiya, sab jagah kaand kiya, naam apna fard diya. Kona Pele Pul Das Nagar, har jagah phaile hai shooter. Jangalpur Alampur Dulagar, this is how down ya mera ghar. Icha booty ka para kadam dalla, welcome to how down walla walla. Bergachi paun gachi notun pali, you gonna see dreams come reality. Art and naam se bajegi tali, this is real we and jolly yo.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I enjoyed that. This is brought to you by a Web3 label out of it called Fools with Dreams. So big shout out to everybody around the world pursuing their Web3 dreams, bringing their music to the chains and doing all that stuff. So check it out on Object. Links are in the show notes. We're going to move on to this next tune. This one also discovered on Twitter. This is by Deuce, I think you pronounce it DXUCE, so Isus maybe. Sorry if I butchered your name, but this is up on OpenSea. It's a collection of his single. Sale ends in 2 hours and 47 minutes. So watch it live and you're interested and you support NFTs from folks. Let's get into this one. Back to enjoy the tunes, all right?
Been feeling off, it's getting bittersweet. Must not know what that did to me. I'm giving you, taking my energy. I'm losing my grip on identity. Ayy, this shit so deep, call it dignity. Hit me at once, it's epiphany. Crickets, all I hear Jiminy. Lungs full of coal, living in chimney. Done with the old flight, new I'm attending. Plugs getting pulled, never fold in the ending. Pour up some more, go where they tempt me. Damn, this life is so tempting, yeah, ayy. Always full until it's empty, ayy. So much pulley, got plenty straight. Flip the bills, came from pennies, ayy. Now the money like Billy Gates. You can say you make the bank roll. There are no rules when you make those. What the fuck I gotta break for? Mathematics multiply the table. Acrobatics where I flip the fable. So connected they can't cut the cable. They just plug the game up. I'm a star player. I could never lay a pussy never changed us. Yeah. I've been higher than the Himalayas. She been fine, but I ain't giving data. Crossing paths with the Undertaker. Shit for 10 bands, they do 100 favors. And I bet it's bittersweet, yeah. My soul is holding the chemistry. Follow the road just to go ways pivoting. Statue was all in the liberty. Had to get rid of the under contributing. They not contributing to what the vision is. Call me the summoner's nemesis, lit me a blunt. Yeah, I'm on 10 with this, ain't no damn friends in this. All of that real shit, they not remembering how we had dividends and he was spending it. He not just lending it, want you to shine. Just like the penmanship, ain't no excuses, not into it. She crossed you once, I bet you twice and she spin again. That bet I'm winning it. Not about the image, there must be percentages. Man of my word, I'm obtaining the imagery. This not from me, laying the energy. This ain't about getting deep in infinity. This more about you reclaiming identity.
Yeah, there you have it. Dignity, that's a new single from Zeus. You can check it out on OpenSea. Links are in the show notes, of course. We are moving along. This is a new platform. It may or may not be new, but it's new on my radar. It's called Our Song. And then I discovered this track from Function. Function. I like that. Playing the words with the name. So he's got this up. I don't know what OSD is, but it must be Our Song dollar, maybe. I'm guessing. Could be. But this one's up. This was just a little beat sample. I wanted to show something from Our Song and thought I'd show some love to the beat makers. So let's play this short clip right here. Its title of the beat is Vana, brought to you by Funk's Beat. That is by Function. All right, check it out, Jeff. Short and sweet, Funk's Beat. Yes, over on on Our Songs. Maybe we should do a platform called Odd Songs for audio. Anyway, much love to all the people creating tunes. We are visiting Tamago, featuring Jeff Gold. Featured Jeff Gold and Clarian North on the show earlier. Had a nice interview with them. If you missed it, do check it out on the recap. It's up on the DAO record, will be up on the DAOrecords YouTube channel under the playlist ODDio3. You can check it out. Make sure to go to tamastream.io. You can get your music up there really easily. You can connect your Near wallet. You can do all kinds of cool stuff. Create NFTs here as well. Drop some bombs, give some treasure, and all that good stuff. So we're going to play this track called Things Like. This was part of the Tama Island open mic. It's a regular event that happens on Tama Island in Near Hub. You can always check that out. Look for them. Make sure to follow all their socials and all that. So this is by Meneke. I believe you pronounce his name. And we're going to play this joint. All right, check it out, y'all.
Meneke. I've been going through things like every other day. I've been going through things like okay, shared my dreams with them and they said it was insanity. Told them I wanted it all and they said it was vanity. Said I should be humble, that I should face reality. Had to shut them out just so I could gain clarity. Trying to be free, but it's like I'm in captivity. Lost regard for niggas, cause lately I lack civility. No love in my heart, like I'm filled with animosity. Hope I find peace and don't feel like this for eternity. I wish I could change their mindset, but it's like they already got their mindset. I'm being slaves to the matrix. They've been life controlled by the fake shit that they see up on the media. Promoted just to cause mass hysteria. See me, I got dreams of living in a utopia. Hoping for a better Nigeria, cause I've been going through things like every other day. I've been going through things like I've been going through things like every other day. I've been going through things like Trying to be constructive while fighting the urge to get destructive. Looking for a fast way to make that cheddar, but I know better that everything that come fast don't last. I ain't tryna speak too much cause I might crash. Take my time with it, fuck the backlash. Still I stay ready so my opportunities don't pass. Fragile like I'm made of glass. Don't fit in just like an outcast. Won't let it move me, I remain steadfast. Floating through the clouds while I'm puffing on gas. Floating through the clouds while I puff on this train. Fighting all these demons that be up in my brain. Telling me that I wouldn't amount to anything. Damn. I've been going through things like every other day. I've been going through things like
Yes, that was Monique. Not Monique, Monique. Things like over on Tamago, thomasstream.io. You can dig a lot of music here if you're interested in checking it out a bit more. We are now moving to our next track. This is off the latest release from DAOrecords and MetaJax. It is called Life is Beautiful. It's an album by Leah Booth. She's a phenomenal jazz artist out of LA. Works together with MetaJax. A lot of really great singers and songwriters and musicians out there working together in harmony. And we're going to play one of the tracks off of here. This is the title track, Life Can Be Beautiful. So let's
Life can be beautiful. How do I know? Somebody wonderful just told me so. Life can be summertime when it's really fall. Love can come anytime, anytime at all. Nights can be heavenly. Take nights like this. What makes them heavenly? Only your kiss. Through all these many years, guess I always knew that life could be beautiful with you. Life can be beautiful. How do I know? Somebody wonderful just told me so. Life can be summertime when it's really fall. Love can come anytime, anytime at all. Nights can be heavenly. Take nights like this. What makes them heavenly? Only your kiss. Through all these many years, guess I always knew that life could be a bundle of joy if you share it with the right boy. Life could be beautiful with you.
Yeah, that was Leah Booth with Life Can Be Beautiful. This is on DAOrecords. Make sure you check it out. We got the links in the show notes. Of course, if you are a music NFT artist, a Web3 musician, someone working in a space, putting out tunes, we love to feature your latest drop. So make sure to hit us up on the socials, ODDio3. That's audio with zeros, not O's. ODDio3 on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you are. Make sure to hit us up and send us your music to be featured on the show. If not, I just scour the internet and find some good stuff for you. And we are going to transition to the next segment. I'll be with you again shortly. All right, show. We are back with the odd news. This is our segment where we go through the various different news stories and pieces that have hit the internet recently and some from the past. Now, this one came out back in August of 2022, but I think this is very interesting because, you know, we are witnessing the rise of Web3 music. And a lot of people are getting into the space. A lot of people are building unique experiences, platforms, drops, whatever you want to do. There's this convergence between technology and the arts. And this article, I think, is really interesting, despite it being from August, and a lot has changed since then. Clovis McAvoy talks a lot about the convergence of Web 2 and Web 3, discusses the benefits of artists getting involved in Web 3 and, you know, releasing their songs as NFTs or using Web 3 music streaming services, talks about the royalty situation. Obviously, we all know that. And they highlight some of the platforms. So, for example, there's a highlight on Audius. Of course, our homies over at Emanate and Catalog and Opus as well. Talk about Sound XYZ and Decent. A lot of stuff in here. So if you want a resource, if you want to learn more about how you can get involved and what the importance and the significance is of being in this Web3 space, especially at this point, you know, this is a great article. I'm not going to read it for you, but I want to share this, and I think if you are interested, check the show notes. You'll have access to this article. And now we're going to move to our next piece of music. Some of you might have heard about this Rihanna drop. Okay, this happened on the 10th of February. It sold out really quickly. This is brought to you by Another Block, which is another very interesting NFT platform. Now, what I find interesting here is because they're offering royalties. So this is a percentage share of royalties, which I think is kind of like the streaming revenue in a way. So it's positioned at 0.0033% ownership. And that is for 300 people or 300 editions, whether you're someone who bought more than one, at a price of 210 USD. So best offer now. I think the floor price has gone up on this significantly. It's currently 0.42 ETH is the current floor price. But it talks a little bit about the song. This is what I like about this. Another block here, its drop page, is they talk about the streams to date. So this track, Bitch Better Have My Money by Rihanna. You all know this song if you've been around the scene for a little while. And it's already racked up like 684 million plus streams, and just gives you a little idea of the probability, the optimistic and the pessimistic view of the returns on your investment. And just goes to a little details about utility and all that stuff. There isn't a song to play here. I'm not going to play a song. I just wanted to show you what people are doing with their drops and how drops are being issued in Web3 space. So if you didn't know about this one, you want to, use some ideas for your drop or think about what you want. This is a good example here. So in a big piece of news, this has been like all over Twitter, so you probably have seen this up here, but Spotify is currently piloting a use case for users in UK, US, Germany, and Australia, and New Zealand by incorporating NFTs. Okay, so I believe this has to do with a playlisting function. So token enable playlists. Now, personally, I'm not really seeing the relevance of token aided playlists on Spotify, but this is why they're calling it a pilot. So they just want to see how people use it, whether it works. And this first one here is by Overlord. So Overlord is teamed up with Spotify as one of the partners for their new pilot. And we're going to see. Let's see if you guys have opinions about this. If you have any thoughts of what you think about seeing big platforms in the Web2 music streaming and industry space slowly, well, if not slowly, but I would say cautiously entering the NFT space. I can see why they decided to move to playlists, to be honest. I think this is a lot easier in terms of positioning NFTs in such a large corporation that is Spotify without having NFTs attached to the music per se, or to some sort of revenue, streaming revenue or speculative revenue. I think this is more like piloting a subscription model here, but by using the influence of playlisters and the popularity of playlisters to see how that will all play out. So if you think this is interesting, I'm pretty sure we're going to hear your views and opinions all over Twitter and other places out there in the Web3 ecosystem. So there you have it. Biggest news probably of the week here is Spotify testing token-enabled music playlists. So woohoo for Spotify. Anyway, on other news, now this is not so recent, but it's pretty recent. If you guys don't know who A.R. Rahman is, he's pretty much the biggest artist in India, and as well as being involved in scoring and creating music for numerous Bollywood feature films and whatnot. He is definitely an Indian icon in the music industry, and he's announcing a new music NFT metaverse. So this is really interesting because some of the biggest artists in one of the biggest music markets in the world, India, is launching a music-focused metaverse called Atrar. Again, I hope I didn't butcher the name of the metaverse, but I find it's really cool because we're seeing a lot of progressive moves by industry icons and people really well positioned in their industries, being able to push out these projects. And I'm excited to see what's in store for this. I think the idea right here, he states, is to bring in new talent techniques and different revenue sources to artists. I think all of us in Web3 music can relate, know that is really what is happening in the NFT space. So let's move along to our next piece of news. This one is, are NFTs a Trojan horse coming at record labels? Now, I wouldn't think it's a Trojan horse because honestly, I think record labels are smart enough to understand how to adapt. And if they do have contracts with their artists, depending on what type of contracts those are, we're going to see artists and labels really working together And, you know, part of what DAOrecords project that I've been working on has been doing is trying to reimagine what a record label is and how you can adjust or adapt your record label to the coming tide, the changing of the tides with Web3. And so, you know, NFTs are going to be more, in my opinion, a tool. But again, this is another take. And I think that it's valuable for anybody who is in the space to, you know, get their knowledge game on and read up. And, you know, if you don't know, you know, who OMG Kirby is, but being a former engineer for Beats by Dre, it's, you know, hip to the game, understands what's going on with technology and music. So it's a good read nonetheless. So with that said, we're going to maneuver into our next segment right here. All right, y'all, once again, we are back with our Odd List segment. This is where we feature artists from one of our partners, Endless, an amazing music collaboration tool out there. If you don't know what it is, you should really check it out. It's a lot of fun, live looping, collaborative efforts. It's got an iOS and an Android app, and it's also available on desktop for Windows. And we're here to check out the charts. The weekly charts, every Sunday, 8 p.m. UTC, a new chart is announced. And I kind of wanted to go with this interesting collaborative track just to kind of show you the collaborative nature of Endless. As you can see in here, this track has jammers on it, Katinkara, D-Source, and Dead Cousin collaborated on this track right here. So let me play it for y'all.
Insecure subsistence skills, rockets of persistence stilled, particulate pollution kills, creating confusion throws, a similar solution spill, confusing collusion will introduce exclusion zones, the seeds of exclusion sown, seduced by intrusive foes, the need for inclusion grows. An insular existence chilled, pockets of resistance filled, learn insecure subsistence skills, rockets of persistence stilled, particulate pollution kills, creating confusion throws, a similar solution spill, confusing collusion will introduce exclusion zones, the seeds of exclusion sown, seduced by intrusive foes, the need for inclusion grows. An insular existence chilled, pockets of resistance filled, learn insecure subsistence skills, rockets of persistence stilled, particulate pollution kills, creating confusion throws, a similar solution spill, confusing collusion will introduce exclusion zones, the seeds of exclusion sown, seduced by intrusive foes, the need for inclusion grows.
Now, what I think is really cool, I would like to actually learn a little bit more about who did what, who collaborated on what, more information I think would be really cool, but maybe this is in the app. I don't want to open it up because it's going to open up my Endless app on my desktop and so forth. But yeah, these are the kind of things that you can do with Endless as a music creation and collaboration tool. You can also mint NFTs with them on the Near protocol. You can do all kinds of cool stuff. They just released their arcade machine, which is super cool. We had Tim Exile on 2 episodes ago, on episode 2. So if you want to go back and check that episode out, please do. So we're going to move on again. Yes, that's right. We're going to see you in our next segment, the Odd Mint segment. All right, y'all. This is the Odd Mint segment where I drop a little free for y'all. This beat brought to you by BeatDAO, DJ Stella. Big shout out to everybody. If you want to contribute a beat to the show, hit up BeatDAO. And we're going to get into this. Yo, check it out, check it out. I used to be an everyday vandal. Now I keep it rare. Rise early for the show. I stay prepared. Collect the news with musical views. I pay dues. So listen to my tunes. I'm not here to talk and promote myself. I play music NFTs that are good for your health, like an apple a day. Let the record play till the tune done, and run a beat until the room's numb. That's what happened when I'm in the zone, broadcasting direct from my home. Before I make this free to an NFT, I graduate with a degree in ODDio3. I got Stella on the street, bringing the vibe, sweet like Nutella. One hell of a ride. Let's get it. We all gonna make it, even if sometimes you try to fake it. Be yourself, it will set you free. A better way to enjoy Web3, the capital V. Busy on the street, just as about as busy as I am with the team. I came for the cream, but I stayed for the clan. From Staten Island to Tokyo, Japan. I hope you understand when I drop the master plan. Ain't nobody bugging with you, man. I'm swinging through your town like I don't remember. Must have been that shit I hit at East Denver. Nah, I'm just kidding. I never made it. I couldn't get my ticket upgraded. So here we are, just chilling in the tropics, trying not to think about the profits. I rock topics, I pop optics with vocal skills and verbal drop kicks. Boom shakalaka, here comes a Reese Walker. Right now, it's like Chewbacca. I'm running Star Wars, but that's May 4th. So May the 4th be with you. Yo, I see through all the visions like transparency. In the Web3 game, it's like that, y'all. It's like this, y'all. And I'm out, y'all, with the art.